Hillel arrived at Queen's in 1941, and it's my understanding that Queen's Hillel was the first Hillel in Canada. One of our first presidents was Alfred Bader, and in his year as president, which he talks about in his autobiography, he describes the campaign to raise $11,000 to buy the first Hillel house in Kingston. And that house was on Barry Street, Lower Barry Street, and that was the home of Hillel for about 20 years. And at some point in the 60s, Beth Israel Synagogue, which is right next door to this building, moved from its original home down on Queen Street, and they bought the Otterburn house, the house that we're in right now, and built their synagogue next door. And the Otterburn house that we're in served as a community hub, and in the late 60s, Hillel sold their house on Barry Street and moved into the Otterburn house. And for probably 5 decades or so, this was the home of Hillel. And countless students enjoyed Shabbat dinners here, fun programs, social events, educational events, right up until 2018. And in 2018, the house no longer suited the needs of Hillel at that time. It needed a lot of work doing to it, and Hillel took a very difficult decision to move out of the Otterburn house in the hope that in the following years we would be able to find a new permanent home for Hillel. Unfortunately, that did not end up being the case, and Hillel actually didn't have a physical home for approximately 4 years. And the Jewish community on campus, I think, suffered quite significantly because of a lack of permanent space for Jewish students to feel safe in. This year we were incredibly excited to be able to actually move back into the Otterburn house through one of those serendipitous moments when everything kind of slots into place. And firstly, we're incredibly thankful that the Beth Israel congregation decided to invest a very large amount of money to regenerate this space. It is a true testament to the vision and the tenacity of the Kingston Jewish community, which is certainly mighty despite its size. And then, thanks to the generosity of 2 visionary families, Hillel were able to secure the funds to actually become tenants again of this space, and to bring our programming back into this space, which has so much history, both for the Kingston Jewish community and also for Hillel.
I think the pandemic affected Jewish students and the Jewish community here at Queen's in the sense that, at least for me, my Jewish community and my connection to Judaism has always been very closely tied to my community, my family, and my friends that I make. So not having that, those in-person relationships and discussions and laughs was really difficult. I think it's hard to form real, genuine connections with people as you're supposed to in university without that in-person element. Being back in person here at Hillel is a completely different ballgame, especially with this new space and being able to have friends and new friends in our community come together indoors, outside. It's been a real blast and something I definitely don't take for granted anymore.
In our first year of the pandemic, in the 2020-21 academic year, Hillel engaged about 250 Jewish students at Queen's. Last year, Hillel engaged about 545 Jewish students, which is obviously more than double the year before. And at the point that we're at right now, we are just about to engage our 350th Jewish students of this year, and that is more than 100 more Jewish students than had connected with Hillel this time last year. One of the biggest factors in that is the house. The Otterburn house creates that sense of permanence the Jewish students were lacking for the last 4 years. It says very clearly that Hillel is here and it's not going anywhere, and we will continue to be the voice of Jewish students on campus, a home away from home for Jewish students studying in Kingston, a place where Jewish students can find community, can find safety, can rely upon.
This new Hillel space means everything to me and to the rest of the Jewish students here at Queens Hillel. Without the house itself, we've been building this community, we've been building our community together, and now we're finally able to put it in a physical space. I envision barbecues all along the front and side lawns involving the synagogue next door, Jeopardy nights with projectors on these beautiful walls and high ceilings, dance parties and other dinners, cooking events. It's a great space and a very welcoming one, so the possibilities are limitless for sure. The location here of the new Hillel house is about a 5-minute walk from the edge of campus from the library and about a 20-second walk from the synagogue right next door. It's a very central point. I think the physical space, like I said, represents a place where people can come not only to have fun, but also to console each other and talk about experiences, especially these past couple weeks have been difficult ones.
I suppose the unique thing about this iteration of Hillel's use of the Otterburn house, different from the past. In the past, this space was just an empty house. Students had events here, but it wasn't livable. It wasn't designed to have somebody live in it. This is an 1834 heritage home. The windows were single pane. The work that has gone into this space, it's got a new deck, it's got new floors, it's got a new roof, it's got a new kitchen, it's got new bathrooms. It is a place now that can be lived in, and in fact, I am living in it. My wife and I have made it our home, and so it's not just a space that Jewish students can run programs, but it's actually a home. It's a Jewish home where we, as a young Jewish couple, post-university, we're in our 30s now, can model what Jewish life looks like. Trying to create a space that is warm and inviting, and young Jews can come into and see that living a Jewish life beyond the home that you grew up in is possible. Some Jewish students come here and they've got a really thick Jewish identity. They might have been to Jewish day school from K right up into 12th grade. Many Jewish students have never engaged with these types of things. They've never seen what it's like to lead a kosher life, to cook in a kosher kitchen. And one of the things that we're able to do is actually model what that looks like. The truth is that the sky is the limit. This space has a huge amount of potential. We're going to be teaching here, we're going to be offering classes here, we're going to be offering meals here, social opportunities. It really is going to be just a place full of life, and we can't wait to welcome the Jewish community to Hillel.